empieza, gente.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June, and we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2. That means the next PoE 2 league will be in August,
4 meses
and the
para
next
PoE 1 y
PoE 1
PoE
league
2.
after that will be in October.
Siguiente liga de PoE 2
Twitch
en
drops are enabled on
agosto.
today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below.
Nueva
This
donación de
Skull of Undeath will track and show the
bus-like.
total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a
Ya
first-person
deberían
shooter,
tener los drops
doesn't mean this
activos,
isn't
gente.
important. Proudly
¿Me lo
or
confirmáis?
shamefully, link it to your
¿Os sale
friends
los drops?
or on global chat to show it off.
¿Dónde estará el señor
With that,
Chris?
let's
Pues
get to
de
why you're
jubilado.
here. Secrets of
En
the
la
Atlas.
playa, posiblemente, sí. Vale. A ver. Ya están los
You
drops,
can
gracias.
search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are.
Está con Kira. Está con
Trust
Kira.
me,
Confía en
I
mí.
should know.
Ay, Dios.
But now, I seek something more tangible.
Nunca descubro realmente quién eres.
Someone I care for. Trapped within the Atlas.
Alguien que me importa. Sana. Vamos a buscar a Sana.
Reliving memories.
¡Oh!
Made
La vida de Sana. La vida de Sana.
Made grotesque. Made foul.
¿Quién es? ¿El primo, el hermano? ¿Qué es?
These manifestations must be destroyed. Their threads must be eradicated.
Manifestaciones de los recuerdos de Sana.
We must find the originator.
El
We
originador.
must save my sister.
¡Mi hermana! ¡Es la hermana! ¡Es el hermano! ¡Es el hermano de Sana! ¡Es el hermano de Sana! ¡Oh! ¡Oh! No va a ser System Game. Mecánicas de crafting nueva. Influencia de Sana. Kismar.
Come, child. Drink deep the waters of life.
You're either a client or a target.
Mercenario.
Job's done.
¿Qué es esto?
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Oh my god. Ay. Los calores. Los calores. Es el hermano.
I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile
Liga de
Secrets of the
Mercenario.
Atlas endgame.
Integración del oro.
Then,
Kismar
we'll explore the
Acore.
new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of
Betrayer
Trials.
actualizado.
After that, we'll cover the integration of gold into PoE 1
Nunca serio.
and how we're bringing Settlers of Kalgur into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited
encanta.
upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life
Esta noche
improvements.
no duerme.
Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our boss kill race
Wow.
event,
No
showing you
esperaba
our
que
new
fuera el
supporter
hermano,
packs,
tío.
and ending with a live Q&A session, where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your
Qué
questions
ganas
from
de jugar
Twitch.
la liga y de ver todos los
In
recuerdos
Path of
sobre
Exile
Sana.
Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped
Extrañas
within.
grietas. Sana regresa y
Partway
parece
through the
estar
endgame,
atrapada.
you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory,
Lágrimas.
distorted
Hilos
and
de
made
memoria.
real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her.
Debes avanzar y encontrar a Sana lo que quede de ella. Sana como vos.
So that's the story background. But how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your atlas, a thread
Wow.
of memories.
Un
In
hilo de
order to now
recuerdos.
access each map on the thread, You simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready,
Es Sana, no
and
el
he'll open
hermano.
the areas
Es
in
el hermano de
sequence.
Sana, el NPC nuevo.
These areas can be fully influenced by your
Egon
atlas tree,
Caserio, sí.
scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort.
Vale, como una memoria.
As you work your way along
Pero
the
a través
thread,
del nuevo
you will
NPC.
discover that these maps have manifested
Y ser
dangerous
influenciados
threats,
por el árbol del Atlas.
influenced by the memories
Todo,
of
vale.
Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which
Pétalo
can
de
be
memoria.
unleashed as a special
Absorbes el
ability during
poder.
combat. Different maps on the
Wow.
thread have different abilities, and these abilities
Consumes
appear on an
pétalos.
additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only
Ooh.
drop more valuable items, like currency and maps.
Vale, diferentes
Memory
tipos
of
de drop
Panic
en la
will make
memoria.
all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies
Puedo
to give
tener
you
doble
their
de
souls,
experiencia y botines porque los
temporarily increasing
revive.
your power.
Wow.
As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its
Los
own
pétalos es
amount
lo
of
que
memory
siempre ha estado
points.
alrededor de Zana,
So using
Domingo.
the examples above,
Pero sí, también
you
está
can
la broma de
first use
expedición.
Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop
Bueno, ir
better,
utilizando
more
diferentes
valuable
tipos de
items.
pétalos para afectar a los bichos de una
Finally,
manera o de otra.
obliterate them all.
Interesante, me
The
gusta.
Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice.
Vale, los
There are
potencias
many combinations
con...
of these powers,
Para que
so
tire
you'll have to
currency, por
carefully
ejemplo, luego lo
consider how
revive y
they
otra vez
best
lo
work
vuelves a
together.
matar. Para tirar más currency.
That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will
Vale,
apply
más
a modifier
altares de
to
influencia.
all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have. This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the
Memorias
most
del
juiced maps
originador.
ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two choices.
No se
and
ha matado
must
mucho
pick
memoria, se han tirado de todo un poco,
This
sí.
mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by
Hombre, lo
tormented
fuerte aquí es
spirits,
el lore.
where this mod makes
Pero
character
sí, no
modifiers
supone un
free to
gran
craft.
reward a lo que conocemos.
Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by
Ooh.
a powerful boss.
Te enfrentas a bosses
Each
en
of these
las
bosses are
memorias.
familiar,
en
but
los
dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something
Vale,
very
de los
different.
recuerdos de Sana,
and
si son
terrifying.
bosses que ya conocemos modificados.
In this map, you will
Eso
fight
es
the
todo,
pinnacle
esto es solo la
boss,
expansión,
Sirius.
Damaru.
Fueled
Están
by Zana's
explicando.
affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge.
Pulsado por los recuerdos cariñosos que Sana
If you
tiene de
manage to
él.
defeat Sirius, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper
Un map
into the memory
fragment.
tears. With these, you can access a set of 3 new
Abre portal
pinnacle
en el momento
bosses.
del tal. 3 bosses
In
nuevos.
this arena, the moment of reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father,
Momento de reverencia.
Valdo.
Está reviviendo un recuerdo
Giving a
de su padre
passionate speech in
Valdo.
Oriath.
Dando un discurso.
The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into
Y el
a
Atlas
twisted
distorsiona el
mind,
recuerdo,
the incarnation of
convirtiéndolo en
dread.
un boss. Oh, como mola,
Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles.
Qué guapo.
Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them.
Nuevos ítems
If you
especiales.
slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the
Starfall.
Starcaller unique abyssal axe.
Área de efecto
We're
crítico
gonna show this
físico
one because it's
melee.
straight up badass. The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill. With the right build, you can carpet entire areas
Eso no me
and
trataban en
wipe
la
out
infancia,
streams
no,
of
hombre,
enemies
son
as you
distorsionados
rain
esos
down the
recuerdos.
elements upon them.
Baldur era muy buen
Another
padre,
item you may
por lo que
find,
sabemos.
and this one is my favorite, is the wine of the prophet
Incrementada la
unique
rareza de
flask.
los ítems.
It consumes a lot of charges,
Ganas
but every
una
time you
buff
use it, you
divina
draw a
aleatoria.
random divination card.
Uh.
This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff.
Robas una carta de
If you draw
adivinación al
the
azar.
escape
¿Cómo?
card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or
Ah,
maybe
ya,
you'll
movement
draw
speed.
the Doctor, which
¡Qué
will cause you
grande!
to
¡Lol!
gain the modifiers of slain rares
¡Qué
you kill.
cojones! ¡Qué chulo!
Effectively, you can think of this unique
¡Qué
as
meme!
being many other uniques all in one. There are many, many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant. Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas. After defeating all 3 new pinnacle bosses,
Después de
you'll
derrotar
be
a los
able
3
to
nuevos
find
bosses.
new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals,
Mapas
but can
influenciados.
also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding.
Pueden generar los mismos modificadores que
With
normalmente
all
se
these
encuentran en
new
el mapa
memory
de tier
maps
17.
comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount up to 100.
Memory Strand 98.
This does a few
¿Qué es
things.
eso?
When you identify the
Cantidad
item,
aleatoria
it
hasta
will
100.
increase the tiers of modifiers your item has.
Cuando identifiques el artículo,
Generally speaking,
aumentarán
the
las
more
lágrimas
memory
modificadores.
strands, the better the item will be. On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency
Cuanto más
orbs
hilos,
to
mejor será el
replace
artículo.
or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new pinnacle bosses
Consume los
also
hilos
drop
para hacer
new
más poderoso
crafting
el ítem.
currencies,
Habrá que ver cómo
which
funciona
can be
eso,
used
¿eh?
to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an
Nuevas
item.
currencies.
The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal
Aleatoriza
equipment.
el número
So
de
if you
hilos
have
de
your perfect
memoria
base
en
to
un
craft
ítem
on,
normal.
and it doesn't
Wow.
already have memory strands, you can add some before
Nueva
crafting.
manera de craftear, ¿eh? Habrá que aprender
Orb
bastante
of
de eso.
Unraveling will consume all remaining memory strands on an
Consume
item
toda la
to
memoria.
randomly upgrade its mod
Vale.
tiers. This
Para
orb's
mejorar los
effectiveness is
modificadores.
based on the number of memory strands it consumes.
Ya tiene curro lo de Crash de Exile
Orb of
total.
Intention can be used on memory-influenced maps to
Modifica
reduce
la
item
memoria de un
drops,
mapa.
but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses
Han
now have
añadido
Exalted
el
Orbs,
Elder y el
which can
Salte-
add their influence to an item.
Shaper es saltador y Elder es
Zana was
saltador.
there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6
Vale.
influence types
Ahora
having their
tenemos
own
los
Exalted
6
Orbs,
exalted de
the
influencia,
cycle is
vale.
complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them. In other news, there of course has to be Atlas
Hay
passive
algo
tree
oculto
support
que no
for
nos
this
han
new
querido
in-game
contar.
content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the
Vale,
Past notable
puntitos
passive
para
skill
nuevas memorias.
increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory
Número de hilos de
influence
memoria
maps
en,
to be
el,
lucky.
en los ítems de equipo que
This means it will
encuentres
roll the
tienen
number of memory
50% de
strands
probabilidad de ser
twice,
lucky.
keeping the highest value.
Vale.
By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll
Vale,
decrease the chance of finding
el
memory
reducir
threads
la
that
probabilidad
lead to
de ir a un
specific
boss concreto
bosses,
de los 3
meaning
nuevos de
you'll have
in-game.
better chances at
para
finding the
farmear
memory
uno en
threads
concreto.
you would like to run.
Supongo que tendrán diferentes drops
This
y
is
puedes
especially
querer
useful if
priorizar
you
uno.
want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to
objetos
free
únicos.
Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the
Te harán
Atlas.
cuestionar qué es real
You'll
mientras
fight new
intentas
Guardian
congelar
and
a
Pinnacle
Sana de
bosses
recuerdos
tormenting her,
desfrutados.
find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft
Qué bonita
powerful new
parece esta
items.
pelea.
While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new in-game system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping.
¿Ha
Let's
mantenido
talk
el oro
about that.
en el juego?
Gold was introduced during the Settlers of Kalgur expansion. It funded the development and operations of King's March. Along with various new features such as the currency exchange,
Vale, que tuvimos el currency exchange en
The
la
black
liga
market.
pasada, el black market.
and the passive respec system with Faustus. Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services King's March has to offer.
Vale, lo
We'll get more into
mantendrán
that later, but don't worry.
junto con
King's
algunas de
March
las
has
cosas
already
que
been
tenía
completed.
Kingsmar.
There will be no more town building.
Pero no
Like
tendrás que
before,
construir más la
gold will
ciudad.
be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league.
El oro se utilizará para los
It's
servicios,
time to
pero la
talk
ciudad ya
about
está hecha.
mercenaries of
Vale.
Trathis. In this league,
Mercenarios,
you will meet
gente-
veterans
la
who have
liga,
traveled
gente.
all the way from the lawless cities
Veteranos.
of Trathis. They're ready to offer
Mercenarios.
their sinister services, but not for
Ciudad
free.
sin ley.
You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and
Diferentes
items
builds,
already equipped.
skills.
After meeting them, as per the Trathan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and
Te
conviction.
desafiarán un duelo.
Before beginning the duel,
Vale, puedes
you will be offered an
contratarlo.
overview of the mercenary you've encountered.
Exiliarlo,
Here,
tomar ítem.
you can see the
Wow.
gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects
What?
augmenting those skills. You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one
Puedes
of their items,
contratarlo, desafiarlo para
o
llevarte lo que
exile.
tiene, o exiliarlo.
if you
Vamos, que
choose
si
to
tiene
hire
un
them
divine lo vas a
for a gold
matar.
cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided,
Vale,
you
tienes que
can begin the
desafiarlo para
duel.
contratarlo
This is a
igualmente.
great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting their
El
items
equipo de
too.
mercenario más poderoso que normalmente encontrarías en
also
otro
come
bicho,
equipped with
básicamente
unique
son como
items.
Rogue
Those that
Exile
would make sense for the
mejorados.
skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These
Vale,
boots
tienen
combine
ítems
agility with
específicos
the
de
mastery of
estos.
the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge
Arcane
also
surge
apply to
cuando
movement
usas una
speed,
movement skill.
which is worth noting is now 20%
Incrementa la
inherently
speed.
from
Arcane
Arcane
surge
Surge,
también
up
aplican a
from 10.
movement speed.
They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathis.
Vale, hay
They
algunos
are
que
less
tienen el nombre
common,
de la
but have
casa.
far better
Que
items.
son más importantes.
And they are also the sole source of items with new infamous modifiers,
Menos comunes,
unseen
mejores
before in
ítems.
Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage
Y
to
tienen
chaos damage.
modificadores especiales de
Or
la
this helmet,
mecánica. Ojo.
which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets.
Lo que no he explicado cuando lo
If you
contrato,
lose the duel,
¿dónde
don't worry.
me acompaña,
You
no?
don't need to give
¿O qué
them an
hace por
item.
mí?
You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Buff parece que buff no da, no, sí. Eso es lo que no me queda claro. Veo que al matarlo
While
sí
playing in a
conseguimos
party,
algo, pero contratarlo
each
¿qué?
player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to
Si
get
son
a random
derrotados,
reward,
tienes
which
50%
is
de
usually
obtener una
currency
recompensa
items from the
aleatoria.
mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
El divine ahí estaba sin la estrella, ¿eh? Estaba así.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an
Vale, ¿qué
eruptor,
aportan? Cada mercenario
which
tiene un tipo
perfectly
de arco.
couples with my slower,
Bueno, cada tiene
more
un tipo de
aura-focused
algo.
scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided.
No, sí, nos acompaña, entiendo, el resto del
When
mapa,
I'm
ahí
playing
está.
a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike
Soporte
to
dorado
apply
muy
to me
raro,
as
que
well.
provoca la fortificación en este caso.
He will also frequently use Enduring Cry,
Un Incar
taunting
variado,
enemies off of
más
me,
bien un
and
rogue
operating as a
potenciado,
tanky
¿no? Me parece a
frontline
mí.
while I blitz off
Me
damage
recuerda
from the
mucho a
back.
los Rogue Exiles.
Sometimes when you fight a mercenary,
mejorados.
you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper
Lo
is
que no me
using a
queda claro
Trathan
cuánto
version of
tiempo te
siege
quedas con
bullets.
ese mercenario.
If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised. You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service.
Solo puedes
The
tener un
other two
mercenario
will wait
acompañándote a la
patiently in
vez,
town.
pero hasta 3 en total a tu
Having varied
servicio.
options is useful,
Los otros 2
as there may
estarán
be
en la ciudad.
situations where you need specific backup.
Vale, reservar,
like a
mira,
difficult
si
boss fight.
puedes tenerlo, si se queda para ti.
Any of your
Vale,
mercenaries
vale.
you have active or in
Es
your
un minion,
reserves
vaya.
can have their
Lo
equipment
que
replaced
decís
with
antes, es
items
un
of your
minion.
choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled
Le puedes
and more
reemplazar el
powerful
equipo,
mercenaries as you advance through the campaign.
Reservar, en
and
plan,
endgame.
tú quédate, dismiss, en plan, mira, tú ya
If your
no te
mercenary falls in
necesito.
combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet.
Vale, si muere en
Then
combate,
perhaps
puedes
consider
revivirlo en la
giving them some
ciudad.
upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify,
Oye,
mercenaries
te
do
guardes, se muere
not
pierde sus
lose their
objetos.
equipment
No, no
when
los
defeated.
pierde, por suerte. Anímate, guardia,
If
esa
your
es
merc buddy
una buena
consistently
comparación,
fails you,
sí.
you
Es
can
un
just
anímate,
dismiss
guardia
them
con
and find a
inventario.
new, more resilient ally.
Y con forma de rogue, ¿no? En forma más humana.
You walk your path.
Dismiss, tú no me interesas, hasta luego. Vale.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries.
Por último, si es un
If you
mierda,
keep
lo
running
exilias y
into
a
a
tomar por
mercenary
saco.
archetype and you
Vale.
think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no
Siempre peleas
auras,
con él igualmente.
you can then
Vale.
choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while.
Una entidad tal, exiliado por
Now,
nuevo encuentro.
alongside
Vale.
these new Trathan arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the
Una
recent
cosita.
Calguran ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based
Mira que lo hemos
respeaking of
comentado
passive
antes, que
points.
se quedaba en el core.
You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast.
Vale, con los
starting with
propios
Vestal
NPCs
and
puedes
Lionized
hacerlo
Watch.
respect con oro, no tienes que ir a la ciudad de Kingsmar para
Black
hacerlo
market
ya.
item gambling,
Perfecto.
previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available
Y
in
el
each
gamble
town
por
at the same
ítem.
NPC.
En cada
This
ciudad
lets you buy
también.
randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're
Por lo
stuck
que
for
vale no puede ser
upgrades
solo por un
or
mapa.
searching for
No,
a
no es solo un
specific unique.
mapa, Seba, lo han comentado
The currency
después.
exchange will be returning too.
Tú puedes tener hasta
Starting
3
from
a la vez.
Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who
Los
can help
reservas en la
facilitate
ciudad y
these
tienes uno
trades.
contigo. Luego lo volvemos a repasar.
Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town.
Vale, la ciudad
And
está
now its
terminada
services
y ya la
can be
ciudad no
used
la
to their
tenemos que
full effect.
construir más. La vamos a encontrar
Kingsmarch is going
entera.
core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start
En
to
el
find
game te puedes
different ore
encontrar
veins,
mineral.
which Calguran workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops
Vale, ya
to
han mantenido
Karui
los
and
servicios.
Calguran
Mantienen los
ports,
servicios, pero
and
ya no
they'll
tienes que
return
subir la
rewards in
ciudad.
kind.
Vale.
By sending shipments, you'll receive different items. But by sending to Karui
Retiro
Port, you
trabajadores.
will also
Conseguir mejores
receive
trabajadores,
tattoos,
sí. Puede ser.
which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats they grant. The Calguran ports will be sending back rune grafts,
Mismo que
which
vimos,
is a
los
new
tatu,
passive
la
tree mechanic
runa.
that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing
Parecido-
stat nodes, they replace a passive tree
runas para el
mastering
árbol de
node.
pasivas.
For
Runegraph.
example,
Hostia.
Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your
Podrías
life to
alcanzar
full
low life
if
al
you reach low life.
recuperarte a full life.
And the Runegraft of Time,
Reemplaza
which
la
has a
maestría,
chance for your cooldown
Ojo.
skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats.
Me
Some are
gusta, me
more
gusta.
common and others rarer. You
Lo
can
siempre,
only
habrá
use
algunas
one of a
carísimas.
given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment. Isla has continued to make modifications to the
Isla.
recombination.
Isla.
She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try and merge together, and it has a success chance you can see. This method can result in the items being destroyed.
¡Ah,
However, it is
combinador
a
más
good option to use when
determinista!
trying to create
Lo dices
items
tú que
with
quieres
fewer mobs
combinar.
to use as crafting projects. Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way.
Y en hable la
By letting fate
unpredictable,
decide,
¿vale?
it
Si
will
quieres
combine the
mantener
two
la
items
antigua,
randomly.
lo puedes
There is
hacer.
no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable.
¿Vale? Puedes elegir entre el nuevo recombinador o el antiguo.
As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you
¿Vale?
wanted to gather more
Puntos de árbol
Verissium ore,
para
you could take this
Settler.
notable. Each ore has a similar node.
¿Vale? Según los minerales, te dan
Refiner's
una
Bargain
buff.
converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into
Polvo
random ores,
taumatúrgico, me
and
gusta.
life force into random crops. We've
Está
also
empalado y no
added a
está
set of
roto, no he perdido
Caliburn
tiempo.
scarabs, so you can add more
No
ore
lo tengo tan
deposits,
claro en PoE 1,
increase the
¿vale?
rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or
Escarabajos,
gather smelted bars from ore you
escarabajitos, me
mark
gusta.
instead of ores.
Me
To
gusta,
sum
me
it all
gusta.
up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores,
Necesitaremos puntos de
craft
látex.
items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts, using those to modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before. Following on from that, we've also made a
Rebana de Trial,
substantial
a ver.
rework to another important
Atentos.
mechanic, the
Que
trail.
hablan de mi Catarina y de mi Yumi.
As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is.
Nos va a explicar brevemente
Betrayal
qué
is a
es
mechanic
Betrayal.
introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Toy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification.
Vale, hay 4
research,
facciones dentro
and
de, bueno, 4
intervention.
sindicatos dentro del
As you encounter the
esto.
Immortal Syndicate members,
sindicato,
you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions
grupos.
to discover the location of their leaders,
Y puedes
tracking
obtener
them to their safe
información sobre
houses.
las divisiones para descubrir la
Defeating the
ubicación
division
y tal.
leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the
Ejecutarlo,
Syndicate Mastermind.
interrogarlo.
In your
esto
journey
como
to
tenemos
track
hasta
down the
ahora.
Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish
Manipulará
them
para
from
cambiar
the
la forma de
Syndicate
las
for a time.
divisiones, las amistades, rivalidades o desterrarlo.
Historically,
Todo para
after
llegar a la
encountering and
Mastermind.
defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal
Históricamente, después de
Syndicate would reset.
encontrar a Mastermind,
requiring
el
you to start
estado
from the beginning
del
of the
sindicato se
investigation again.
reinicia. Tendríamos que empezar
This
del
has always been a
principio.
difficult decision for players and can often feel bad.
Esta siempre ha sido una
Do you
decisión
fight the
difícil, ¿no?
Mastermind for a chance at the special loot,
Lucha contra el
or
Mastermind
keep
o
farming the safe houses that you've spent so
botín
long setting up?
especial yendo a una sala en
Well,
concreto.
in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic.
Están separados.
The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has
El
a
boss es
chance
un
to drop from the safe
fragmento.
house leaders at high levels. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate. You can now build your Betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all
¿Vale?
your
Farmeas
progress every
sindicato
time.
como tal y te va
The boss fight
cayendo el
itself has
acceso
also
al boss,
been
pero no te
improved,
afecta
now
cómo
with
está el
significantly
sindicato.
fewer immunity phases and new
Pero
rewards.
sigue siendo lo mismo, no tengo que seguir
By the
interrogando para
way, if you're
encontrarlo
a new
o no.
player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace. The Mastermind
Veremos
still
cómo
has a
queda.
chance to drop a Veiled Orb.
También lo que
Now
comentamos, el
renamed to
Baile
Veiled
Or que
Exalted.
teníamos ahora pasa a ser Baile
Veiled Chaos
Desaltador
Orbs are being re-added
y
to
vuelve
other
el Baile
safe house
Echador que
leaders.
teníamos antes, ¿vale? Cuidado, no
In
liaros con los
addition,
iconos,
the
que lo
Mastermind now
mantenido.
drops the new All Flame Embers.
All Flame Ember.
All Flame Embers are map
Ooh.
fragments that replace monster packs and in-game maps with different types of special monsters.
Y
These
si antes
packs
de
have
pelear con el
unusual
bono nada más,
properties,
sí,
compositions,
pero
or rewards.
habrá que ver cómo se
For
consigue,
example,
porque si es
you
interrogar
might
es lo
use the
mismo otra vez.
All-Flame Ember of Kulamac,
No sé si
which
ahora es
replaces
RNG.
packs with syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding.
Vale, tenemos All
It is our
Flame.
intention with All Flames to provide many different types that combine
Como
with other
en
mechanics,
Necrópolis era esto, ¿no?
multiplying
Sí.
with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the All Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map.
Vale.
This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters. Something akin to meat sacks. which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too.
Han cogido un batiburrillo de
Another
cosas que
is
ya
the
había
All-Flame Ember of Resplendence,
y
which
las han
adds
integrado
monsters
bien.
that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and
Incrementada la
rarity to
quantity y la
enhance the
rarity,
drops
qué
of all
guapo.
other monsters.
Y ahora son
All-Flame
tradeables, ¿no?
Embers can
Además.
be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps.
Sí, consume
We're looking
un
forward to
lugar de
seeing which
escarabajos.
combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all
Sí. Y
scarabs,
sí, efectivamente,
all
necesitaremos una
All-Flames,
pantalla para
or maybe
ellos.
mix and match. It's up to
Una
you.
pestañita, por favor, para los flame.
The Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are
Los
now
ítems
from
de
a
la
custom
Mastermind
pool
también han
exclusive
sido
to those
mejorados.
uniques. Bitterbind Point, for example, can now have
Vale,
various
son
Spectre-specific
modificadores especiales,
outcomes,
son para esos
such
ítems
as
nada más.
+1 additional Spectre. Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the safe house rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees
Vale,
at
han
the end of many safe
reequilibrado las
houses. For those
recompensas
who aren't
de los
aware how these
sindicatos.
crafting sprees work, well, it's
Me
simple.
toca actualizar
There's a
la
crafting bench with an
lista.
item in it
la
and a bunch of
plantilla.
currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your
Currency
only
de
objective is to
Eldritch
craft the best
también.
item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to
Necesito
have
la
specific
lista,
items
la
on
nota de
hand
parche
in
para
order to
escribir
best
esto.
maximize your result. But how are you supposed
Tendré
to
la
know that
chuleta sindicato
beforehand?
actualizada,
In
no
order
os
to solve
preocupéis.
this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree. Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this reflecting mist crafting spree. and see if
Si
you can
tienes
create something worthy
suerte,
of Calandra's praise.
puede darte el espejo de Calandra este. Claro, claro.
And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated
No va a
unique
pasar.
item and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but
Digin
not quite
Touched
the
Val
same.
Orb.
Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs.
Puedes
This
romperlo
orb
varias veces.
also allows you to get 2
Oh.
corrupted implicits and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes.
Para ítem únicos nada
Of
más,
course,
Pero
if you push your
curioso.
luck, you can still ruin the item.
Me encanta.
There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique.
Scoring chance,
For
scoring
most
chance.
sprees, the rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality
Como
of the
siempre, el rango del
pre-generated items,
sindicato afecta
and
lo
the
que
time
va a
allowed to craft your
tener.
item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just
Cofres
like
de
the
la
Emperor's
suerte.
Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines.
Pues acabar con un montón de divines, sí.
Betrayal is a
No
good
nos va a
source of
pasar.
veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal
Pero
to
como he
unlock.
comentado antes, ahora los
They are
resign no
instead
se
found at the
consiguen
entrances to boss
al
rooms
revelar
in game
ítems,
modes.
sino en los mapas.
On top of
Vale,
that,
las resign
you
ya no
no
las
longer
da
need to
la
speak to
mecánica de
Jun
Jun
to
como
unveil
tal, sino lo dan los
items.
mapas.
You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on
Desde aquí
gamepad,
podemos
and
conseguir
select
algo, pero
which
ya no
veiled modifier you want to
se
unveil.
consigue para tu crafting bench.
Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Veremos. Veremos a ver exactamente cómo... Si es
Now,
random,
before we get
o
into
si
our
hay que
quality of
interrogar para
life
conseguir el de
editions, let's
Catarina.
quickly talk about some character balance.
Entiendo que es random
We
cada
will
vez
be
que
doing
hagamos
our
una
regular
sala
character balance
de
changes where we are
sindicato.
bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically
habla de
enhance
balance de
self-casting
personaje.
builds, channeled spells, adding new
Winter
options
Orb.
to the Guardian, Berserker,
Guardian.
Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes, which include some favorites from some of the alternate
Saboteur.
classes from Legacy of Frisia, and buffing a whole bunch of
Brave
transfigured
Blast
gems that
or
never really hit the
Lorien.
mark.
Pulir
Combined with the
gemas
new endgame
transfiguradas, han
crafting,
dicho.
improved betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle
Mucha
unique
cosita,
items,
esta temporada.
new modifiers and Trathan gems
Muchas
from the
maneras nuevas
mercenaries,
de craftear,
and of course the
veo yo.
mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to
Habrá
your
mucho que
character.
estudiar.
It's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion,
Tantas cosas,
we've also
sí.
added a lot of the quality of
Lo que he
life
dicho, ¿no? Que
features
muchas cosas
that
las
we
pondré en
know
la nota
you've
de
all been
parche y ya
asking
está,
for.
para que te la vayas leyendo.
A lot of these have already been posted,
Quality
but let's take
Online,
a look
algunas
now
ya
in
las han
case you
estado
missed any.
posteando, vamos a ver cuáles
You
no.
can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu,
El pause, ¿lo hemos
or
visto?
by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also be paused if any lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing.
So, come back.
We're also making a change to how you use currency
En
items on
Strombo,
strong
que salga la
boxes
currency,
and
también lo
monsters
hemos
imprisoned in
comentado
essences.
antes.
Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear.
Es lo que tenemos en el inventario,
Valuable
No
currency
vale lo
like
que
divine
tengas en tu
orbs have been
gildeo.
excluded from this as it would often
Tienes
be
que llevarlo
wasteful to use in
encima.
this context. The
Es un
same
acceso
applies to
rápido para no abrir el
essences with the
inventario,
remnant
vaya.
of corruption currency.
No es más que eso,
Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can
Esto me
now
encanta.
reroll your Elder and
El
Conqueror
Horizon para
Guardian
Conqueror y
maps.
Guardianes del Elder.
Doing so will reroll the base map
Maravilloso.
and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a
El
small
inventario del
additional
Map
inventory.
Device, cómo mola.
This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach. On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby. You no longer have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on. There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this live stream concludes.
Vale, después de este streaming salen las
Alongside the
notas de
launch of
parche.
Secrets of
Y
the
tengo
Atlas,
mucho trabajo
we're hosting a
entonces.
competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new pinnacle bosses.
Habrá la típica carrera para
The event
competir
will
en
take
quién mata
place in the
primero a los
hardcore,
bosses finales
solo
nuevos.
self-found Mercenaries of Trathan's
En
League.
solo hardcore.
We have some interesting prizes in
SSF
store for the
hardcore.
winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the
Habrá
event will
premios
work
para los
and what
ganadores,
its
que
prizes
estemos
are.
atentos para saber.
Next up,
Nuevo
we're going to
soporte
be talking about our
nuevo
new
soporte
League supporter
packs. A ver.
packs. Today, we're
Oye,
launching
explota la
two new
página para
series
el
of
nuevo, ya
supporter
ves.
packs. The Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Bueno, siempre
As
que solo
always,
son cosas
the microtransactions
cosméticas.
in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or
The
progression
packs.
in any way. The
Dos series de
Frisian
packs.
Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character
Feo.
effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of
No,
the character you want to
enredaderas
have
alrededor
covered,
de tu cuerpo, es
either your
feísimo.
entire
Es
body, your
horrible.
lower body, or your upper body.
No selecciona qué
As
parte
you
del
approach
personaje quieres que
waypoints,
se
it will
cubra.
emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst
A
around
medida
it.
que te acercas al weapon, me tira hojas con pétalos
Envelop your weapon
dorados.
in thorny vines and golden
Feísimo,
flora with the
horroroso.
Frisian Magistrate weapon effect.
Hay que
Your
pagar
weapon
por
will
eso.
also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes
arma
with its
también
own
crea
hit
el
effect when
rastro.
slaying enemies.
Cutrísimo.
You are the law, while
Han
wearing the
dejado el
armor
novato.
of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate.
Al matar enemigos a la ley mientras viste
The
la
Spider
armadura.
Blossom pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an
Mascota flor
elegant
de
flower
araña.
when near
Bueno, este
rare
es
or
bonito.
unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes
Bueno,
in
si la
two
armadura es un
forms.
poquito más bonita,
Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave
Completa
tombstones
más
in your
bonita.
honor when you meet your demise, or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers.
Vale, que se vea, no.
Keep track of how well
Tumbitas y
or
tal.
poorly your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration.
Una mesita para
It
llevar
will
lo
keep
que
track of
llevamos
the total number of
de.
waves completed the total number of
Para llevar la
ultimatums
cuenta de
succeeded,
ultimátum.
or even failed.
¿Cuánto
On top of
fallamos?
that,
¿Cuánto
it will track the total
completamos?
number of times
Meh.
you've defeated the Trial Master himself.
Ni así van a conseguir que juguemos ultimátum.
The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains
¿y este pack?
6 exclusive microtransactions.
Mira de este.
With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal
Capa
the
para
soul of
rematar.
slain unique
¡Wow!
enemies.
Este no lo ha hecho el novato, ¿eh?
The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass
¡Qué bonito! ¡Es precioso! ¿Este efecto de portal? ¡Preciosísimo! Me encanta.
Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more armored helmet
Ropita.
variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood.
¡Oh, lo coro! ¡Lo coro!
Looking to have some
¡La
fun
cara, me
during idle time
encanta!
in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed as you
esto?
try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest
¡Es
time.
el juego del
It also
topo!
comes with a scoreboard,
¡Es el
so
juego
you
del
can try to set
topo!
new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself
acabo
with
de
the
decir,
Ghostly Dead as you
cómo
guide the
mola.
line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment.
Una capa bonita.
The Sacred Archives map device resembles
Mira,
a
el
magical
map device
library
este,
with the
tío.
works of scholars that come to life when you open
Una
a map.
biblioteca mágica.
This map device
Es
tracks how
enorme,
many
eso
of
sí,
each
¿eh?
core league you've completed in in-game maps.
Lleva toda la cuenta.
These packs are now available for
Cuenta de
purchase
las
on
mecánicas
both
que
PC
hace.
and console, and will remain so during
Necesito
Path of
ese.
Exile, Mercenaries of Trathis.
Siento liga se viene
Additionally,
Tetris.
any microtransactions from these supporter packs will
Wow,
be
me
made
encanta
available
el
for
segundo
use in
pack.
Path
El
of
primero, la
Exile
verdad, no
2.
me gustaba nada, excepto la araña. Pero el segundo es precioso.
Meanwhile,
A mí,
the
al menos.
Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathis League. So now's your last chance
Bueno,
to
que los que
purchase.
hay ahora son tu última oportunidad de
Additionally, the
comprarlo.
Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them
Vale, la
in Path
caja
of
de
Exile
PoE
1.
2 estará disponible en PoE 1,
Thank
¿no?
you so
¿Entendido?
much
No
for
la he
your
visto esa
ongoing
caja
support.
todavía, creo.
We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D.
Vale, empieza el QA. Yo el QA no lo voy a ver.
Afterwards, we'll post the full